In January 1996, the family of a man discovered him naked in their bathroom, a rubber tube wrapped around his neck. Despite their immediate efforts to revive him, he showed no signs of life, prompting them to call the police in a state of terror. Days later, the coroner ruled his death a suicide. However, this man was no ordinary person. In a speech several months prior, he mentioned being involved in an interstellar war between aliens and humans in 1979. He claimed to have regained his memories after stopping epilepsy medication in 1994. He collected evidence and publicly disclosed it in 1995. He even mentioned the possibility of being suicided due to his revelations. His predictions came true when he was found dead. This sparked suspicions of a covert war, especially after others came forward with similar stories. This incident became the subject of a documentary series titled Beyond the Spectrum, featured in Season 1, Episode 5, The Underground 2.0. Additionally, it was the subject of a film called The Underground, released in 2017 on Apple Film. The documentaries examined Phil's claims to have knowledge of government and world secrets, secrets that are kept underground, out of sight, and out of sound. So what really happened? This incident, some referred to as the Inazuma incident, which occurred in 1995, was a speech revealing the highest secrets of the US government held at a university. The speaker was a man named Philip Schneider. As soon as he took the stage, he said, "I know that what I'm about to say today will not be believed by many of you present here. This is understandable, because if someone suddenly told me that aliens really exist, I might not believe him either. But what I want to tell you today is not whether aliens really exist or not. Instead, I want to tell you a story about 66 human lives lost. Among these 66 people were my friends and colleagues, and the reason they lost their lives was because the government had concealed from us the existence of aliens." In 1979, I was recruited by the country as a geologist to participate in a secret underground project in the Dulce area of New Mexico, USA. This was not the first time I had participated in underground base construction for the government, but what happened this time completely changed my life. Actually, some of us noticed something strange about this project because there were a large number of people wearing green berets at the construction site, which were the US Special Forces. This indicated one thing: the government at the time definitely knew what was buried underground. However, they chose not to tell us. If they had been willing to tell us, perhaps those 66 people would not have lost their lives. According to the plan, this underground construction project aimed to build a 3-cubic-mile facility 4 kilometers beneath the surface, incorporating 4 giant tunnels in the southwest to link with other underground bases. This project wasn't the government's sole undertaking in massive underground construction. By 1995, the United States reportedly had 131 completed underground bases. These bases were interconnected by suspended trains capable of shuttling between them at twice the speed of sound. One of my colleagues, Albert Lick, regularly commuted on these trains to various bases like Zone 51, as well as S4 and S2. Zone 51 alone employed over 18,000 individuals working in 2 shifts, conducting specialized research around the clock. It's noteworthy that at that time, the United States hadn't officially acknowledged the existence of Zone 51. Nonetheless, Schneider confidently asserted the reality of these bases and their involvement in cutting-edge research and development activities. In 2013, the CIA officially admitted the existence of Zone 51, which may lend some credibility to Schneider's words. Schneider continued, The cost of building each underground base is between 17 billion and 19 billion US dollars, all of which comes from an annual black budget of 5.7 billion US dollars. At that time, I was responsible for the underground blasting project. After blasting the surface and inserting the machine, my work was mostly done because the machine used the latest thermal fusion technology. Traditional drilling technology required excavation and transport of soil while digging, so the project would be very, very slow. However, the technology had long been abandoned by the US military. The machine we used emitted a laser light that instantly vitrified the rock, turning it into a coating on the wall of the tunnel. It could drill 2 miles, or about 3 kilometers, of tunnel in a day, so the entire base excavation project would take less than a few days to complete. I understand that this technology may seem unbelievable to you. However, the reality is that many countries have made remarkable advancements. Consider the SR-71 Blackbird reconnaissance aircraft developed by the United States long ago. Today, the US is actively pursuing the development of a fighter jet capable of reaching 5 times the speed of sound. Moreover, instead of laser weapons, the United States now employs electric index weapons. Satellite monitoring technology has progressed to the extent that it can detect objects as small as a penny on the Earth's surface from outer space. These remarkable advancements are attributed to government collaboration with extraterrestrial entities. As the underground construction project was nearing completion, an accident occurred. One day, a machine running halfway suddenly made a loud noise. Frontline workers immediately reported that for some unknown reason, the machine seemed to have drilled through the wall and thick smoke kept pouring out. Escorted by the Green Beret Special Forces, we went underground to inspect. As soon as we arrived at the scene, I saw the big hole. The hole was bottomless, accompanied by an indescribable stench. Just as everyone was wondering, we heard unusual noises. Unexpectedly, a large number of unidentified creatures surged out of the hole. They were very tall, averaging 2 meters in height. At that time, all of us were stunned. The armed personnel instinctively picked up their guns, and then the war began. What surprised me was that these monsters also held weapons in their hands. The weapons continuously emitted blue laser beams. One of the laser beams hit my left hand, and my 2 fingers were instantly vaporized. Besides my fingers, my body was also hit. At that moment, I thought I was going to die, but later, a Special Forces member took me to the nearby elevator. Then I lost consciousness. When I woke up again, I was lying in the hospital. After regaining consciousness, I frantically asked people around me to find out what the monsters I saw in the base that day were. But no one could answer my question. I only know that of the people who went down together at that time, including me, only 3 people came out alive. The remaining 66 people all perished. Shortly after being discharged from the hospital, I was diagnosed with epilepsy by a doctor and prescribed medication for me to take. But this was actually a drug that caused memory loss, and their purpose was only one. They hoped that I would never reveal what happened that day. In fact, just the week before last, I was shot. Schneider then showed the wound on his left shoulder and continued, "There is a dark force trying to stop me from revealing the truth, but the truth will eventually come out. One day, you will know that what I am saying is true." After the news of Schneider's death came out, a journalist once interviewed Schneider's ex-wife by phone. His ex-wife said she did not believe Schneider was the kind of person who would commit suicide. On the day when he received the police's call and rushed to the scene, he noticed that all of his ex-husband's research materials were missing. What's even more strange is that the police determined that Schneider died by hanging a rubber band around his neck, but his left hand, due to an accident in his early years, had already lost his index finger and middle finger, and the other 3 fingers also suffered from severe arthritis. It was too difficult for him to tie a knot around his neck 3 times with a rubber band. His ex-wife even mentioned that there were sleeping pills and a pistol for self-defense in Schneider's home. If he really wanted to commit suicide, he could have used these items. Thomas Costello, purported to have been a former security officer at the Dulce underground base in New Mexico, corroborated Schneider's claims. He disclosed that the base was a joint human-alien facility for genetic experiments. The base had 19 levels, including areas for genetic experiments and human-alien hybridization. Costello disappeared after promising further revelations about the base. What's your take on what really happened? Do you think this is a conspiracy or just a series of coincidences? And if it's true, could it possibly be connected to the Miami Mall incident earlier this year? Share your thoughts, like and subscribe to stay tuned.